This is a 2025 Ram 3500 Limited Dually. And we're going to discuss, did Ram make a mistake not optioning this truck with the 410? I borrowed this truck from Larry H. Miller, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah. Be sure to ask for Jan. Let's go ahead and check out the window sticker so you guys can see options and features on this build. At the very top is the description. Base price comes in at $77,950. And then here's a short listing of the standard equipment. Granite Crystal starts off the options at $295. Max tow is $2330, and that gives you the fifth wheel prep package and automatic leveling rear air suspension. Night edition is $1195, but limited level 1 did go up in price for this year at $4495. High output Cummins is $12,595. Sunroof, instrument panel, auxiliary switches, 50-gallon fuel tank, dual rear wheels, upfitter, electronic module was added. Destination is $1995 with a total price of $103,940. Chevy, Ford, and GMC do not offer a blackout like this. Now, Ford did add the Platinum package, which comes standard with blackout, but it's a little tacky because there's chrome on the truck still. It has the polished wheels. This is done perfectly. Ram's been doing this since 2021, I believe, 2020, somewhere in there, for the dualies, that is. And man, it looks so good. Now for 2025, it did get a fresh face, new grille, and I'm still working on this new refresh. It hasn't been like set in stone that I love it, but it's definitely a new look. I think the Limited and the Longhorn kind of got a downgrade because the headlights are just like the ones on the Laramie, and the grille just doesn't hit the way that last one did. That's it. But apart from that, if you can overlook those two things, this is still a really nice truck. Full LED headlights, fog lights, nothing changes there. It has adaptive cruise control on the front end. You see the sensor right here. Front cameras, black tow hooks. You have the front parking sensors, and this one does have the performance hood. It really does finish off the front end, and I think Granite Crystal is really the best color, unless you go with black, that is. Now here is a quick look at the suspension. Solid front axle. You can see that sway bar right there. Plastic liner. And then here are the tires. Ram is still rolling with these Nexen tires. These are the Rodian HTX RH5s. Most guys take these off once they get their truck. Now keep in mind, there is a Goodyear tire you can option your truck with. So if you are building it from the factory and you don't want to have to deal with changing off the tires, that is available. These are an LT 235/80/17, so 17-inch wheel. GM has an 18-inch wheel for the dualies now. Just saying, it's an option on some trims, but on the high trims, 18 comes standard. And so these are 31.8 inches tall, 9.3 inches wide. And I love that little like machine finish they give you right here. At first, I never liked it, but it has grown on me. I think it adds a nice touch to the dually for sure. You get fender flares on the Limited trim levels. All your badging's blacked out. I would like to see a black painted mirror cap. This is part of it being painted. I think would look good with this. You have these stationary lights right there, turn signals, and then here's a side view. Not the best dually side, but it's okay. It's a dually truck, right? It's not supposed to look pretty. You have your power deployable running boards, cameras. You have top and bottom mirrors heated, and this is powered too. You have your light for backing up your trailer, painted door handles, smart key system. Love their power deployable running boards. They're thin, they don't take away from the design, they're not chromed out. Love that. And as you guys saw on the window sticker, 50-gallon fuel tank. Why would you buy a long bed without it? And then this is going to be 7.5 gallons for 2025. Now just below, you see your 50-gallon fuel tank. They do give you a nice skid plate for your DEF tank, as if anyone cares about that. And And they should have a transfer case skid plate available too. Now this truck has air suspension. I'm hoping a dually comes in without air suspension because I want to show you guys the leaf pack, because remember when they had the standard output and high output, they had different leaf packs without the air suspension. There is your liner. It is missing a piece in the center there. And then here's a quick peek at those dually wheels out back. They look good. They look real good. The new tail lights look great too on this truck as well. Full LED. They spill out Ram Limited 4x4. Looks clean. I like that blackout. Looks great. They're the only truck in the market too that gives you standard LED license plate lights. You have your 12-way plug for video, 7-pin for your trailer. This is for the rear view mirror. And you have a 342 rear. You can see those airbags too out back. You have that spare tire finished in black. And every truck so far this year has had this guy. There is a light right there. Class 5 hitch. Let's go ahead and step in the bed too. Might as well, right? You have your bed lights, fifth wheel prep package. It seems like fifth wheel prep package is further back, but maybe it's just in my head. You have your 7-pin and 12-way plug. 400 watts of power comes standard. And then you have your 2 cameras above, one for rear view mirror, one for bed view. Power sliding glass. And then here's a side view that looks so good. Even though the displacement is still the same, this Cummins is technically all new. It does have a cast iron block, which they went away from the CGI, which they introduced in 2019. They got away from the grid heater for the first time ever, going to glow plugs. The other two use glow plugs as well. And I like that because now you don't have as much restriction over time. Because of the emissions crap on these trucks, like the EGR for example, those grids would start to accumulate soot buildup on them. And I think that that would over time reduce performance in the engine. So now you don't have those grids, and this truck does feel a lot torquier down low. Now top feed injectors, you can see the fuel rail right there too. I don't think you could ever see that on the previous trucks. I have to pull one. I keep forgetting to do that, but I don't recall seeing the fuel rail. You can kind of see it right there. You can see it's kind of like tucked in back here. But yeah, what else? It has the CP8 fuel pump. Actually, now that this doesn't have the dual alternators, you can see that a lot better on this side. So that's the CP8 fuel pump. And performance intake manifold. Also, you probably can tell you have your first and second stage fuel filters right there. On this side, they have your oil filter right there. So serviceability should be a little bit easier. They did do some updates with the turbocharger and the emissions on this truck too. Now it makes 430 horsepower, 1,075 pound-feet of torque. So it's just up 10 horsepower, and that's in part to the engine just breathing better with the intake manifold, larger intake and exhaust valves. And overall, all that power now goes through a new 8-speed transmission. So this is still a medium-duty transmission, but it ain't no Eisen. That's for sure. The Eisen was more for work and payload. And if you were buying that transmission to just cruise around with, you were going to be very disappointed. But no longer is that the case with this new ZF 8-speed. Has deep gears. I think the first gear is like a 490 something, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but it's deep. Final gear is like a 0.64. So it's pretty much in line with all the other ones too. Let's go ahead and go for a drive. I'm going to show you guys the interior really quickly, but I want to drive this dually because I don't know how long it's going to be here, but I really want to put it up against a 2024 with a 410. So stay tuned. I will link a video at the end of this one if you want to see a better look at this interior. But I didn't have a chance to drive the last dually I had simply because it was sold, and I'm not gonna drive someone's sold truck unless the customer's okay with it. Sometimes I'll have them ask the customer, and in that case, I figured I'd rather just wait till I got one so I could really take my time with it. So this one's available, so I'm gonna go ahead and drive it. The very first thing you'll notice driving the new Cummins is when you're at a stop, for example, just so you know, this transmission just start in second gear as an FYI. But when you go to start, there used to be a stumble with that Eisen, and it was pretty bad with the 373 trucks without the 410 in my opinion. I feel like the 410s didn't do it as much. But now you have a 342. The 342 is going to run at a lower RPM, right? Which means the exhaust brake could be not as strong. Here's where I think Ram messed up just a little bit. They don't really need a 410. I was going to make that point to you guys. They don't need a 410. They probably should have optioned these trucks with a 373 for the max tow. Now, the only reason why I say that is because when you have the higher RPMs, that exhaust brake is going to work far better, which I'm going to turn that on now. And I'm going to turn tow haul mode on too, just for a little bit. Actually, I'll do it on the highway. I don't want to do it right now. The exhaust brake works with the transmission. When you tap the brakes on this type of truck, that transmission downshifts. And when it downshifts, that exhaust brake is a lot stronger in comparison. So that's what I want to see today. Now, here's the other thing I want you to consider. This is why I think Ram should have really offered at least a 373. A 410 would have been nice, but I don't think it needed a 410. And a 373 would have been perfect, because you guys can probably tell. I mean, this truck has great low end torque. Even with the RPMs being a little bit lower, you don't really notice a difference in how the truck performs at these, you know, off the line grunts, because the Eisen was so. I owned one. You guys know that. I owned the Eisen, and that transmission was just, unless you were hooked up to a trailer, it sucked. Unloaded. And that transmission started in first gear, whereas this one starts in second gear, and it doesn't feel like it stumbles. But if you plan on running a 37-inch tall tire, that's where I think Ram should have offered that, because with the 37s, you're changing the gearing out back for sure. And that could affect the performance a little bit. Now, some people would venture to say, well, don't buy 37-inch tires for a work truck. Well, that's not fair, because some guys like the look, and if you need a bigger dually truck, it's nice to have that bubble look with these, especially with these 17-inch wheels, right? So that's just my 2 cents. I think that the 373 or the 410 would have been nice to have, at least as an option. But let's go ahead and head over to the highway. I want to see if this exhaust brake is affected, and then in the future, if I have a chance, I'll grab a 410 high output Cummins to put up against this and do a side-by-side comparison. All right, I'm going 30 miles an hour. Hit it. A little bit of a delay, but it's not bad. The transmission doesn't stumble. We're in 5th gear, 6th gear. You don't feel the shifts at all. I'm going 70. Wow, this truck is fast. It's a little bit quicker than last year's, for sure. And as I said, you don't notice a difference with the performance of this transmission. I mean, it drops down to the gear that it needs to get to. It's not busy at all. Let's go and put it in tow haul mode, and let's see what happens. I wasn't quite ready for this too, by the way. So the horsepower on the exhaust brake is at 70. Here, one more time. I'm going to tap the brakes. Ooh, that was strong. That's 3rd gear. Now I'm in tow haul mode. Now, the transmission, I'll do another video against the Eisen. 3rd gear is strong. Like, that's where you really feel that exhaust brake once it hits that 3rd gear. Now I'm sitting in 3rd gear. Now this dropped down to 2nd. Let's see if it'll Yeah, it's almost at 100 horsepower for third gear for the exhaust brake. That is, whoo, that's a big boy exhaust brake. So it's not really affected with the 342. Now, as I said, if you're someone who needs those 37s, that might change things a little bit more so. And so we'll have to see. If I get someone who buys a truck like this and they run the 37s, if you do it, I'm sure there's gonna be some guys that do it. Maybe I should do it, but I can't afford a truck right now. I have a Z06 payment I gotta deal with. So I can't buy a dually right now, nor do I need one. I only have a travel trailer. And if I get a dually, I'll want to get a bigger trailer. And I don't want to buy anything right now. It's just not the time to be buying stuff. But yeah, this truck is definitely so much better in so many different ways. Oh, one more thing. The exhaust brake is even strong in 6th gear. I'm gonna tap it. Wow, it's strong. But the transmission downshifts are gone. See, the ZF transmission behind the Hemi is the same way. The downshifts were never strong. You see those little wheat downshifts? That was not too bad. Yeah, it's definitely not as strong. But remember, you gotta take the good with the bad. Yes, the downshifts are not as strong, but the exhaust brake is still the same. It has not been affected. You just don't have the downshift. See, with the 6-speed, that made it so much stronger. And you'll see that if I have a chance to put this up against a 6-speed truck. Gross axle weight rating out front is going to be 6,000 pounds. The rear is 9,750 pounds. Gross field weight rating is going to be 14,000 pounds. Those wheels are 17 by 6 wide. And then all in payload, you ready for this? 4,960 pounds. Tire pressure is going to be 80 out front, 65 in the rear. So Payload did suffer with this new truck. Cast iron block was heavier than the compacted graphite iron. This transmission is lighter than the Eisen, but is heavier than the 68 RFE. And this truck is just heavier overall for this year. So yes, I think Payload's down maybe 100, 150 pounds or so. And this truck is decked out. It has just about every option you can get, with the exception of the extra alternator. I think that's the only thing that I probably would have wanted. And yeah, I think Ram is still killing it. You guys see the towing capacity here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you find this content helpful. See you guys soon.